Hey guys, I just wanted to get on here this evening and talk about something. I posted about this on Facebook, so if you follow me on social media, you've already read it and you know all about it. But lately, I've had several people ask over the course that we've had Connor, but it seems like, especially lately, I've had several people ask about his functioning and if we thought he would be low functioning or high functioning, like as an adult. And I just wanted to get on here and talk about it. And it doesn't offend me. A lot of things used to offend me. When Connor first came home, I got easily offended about things, and I learned very quickly that I would be mad all the time if I let everything offend me. So I've gotten much better about kind of letting it roll. Just, people are curious. People don't mean it from a malicious place. People don't mean it in a harsh tone. A lot of times I think you would probably take it as, if he's low functioning, there's something wrong with him. That's not really how people mean it. People do feel bad for you, I think. Like kind of a bless your heart, do you think he'll be low functioning? You know what I mean? But most people do not mean it that way. It's your mind telling you they mean it that way. So I have been doing much better since I have took on this new perspective to not let everything anger me, because I don't want to be an angry person. I don't want to be an overly emotional person. And people are genuinely interested in our family and Connor and our life, and I'm grateful for that. And I never want people to be afraid to ask me stuff, because if they're asking stuff, then they're interested and they care, and I really appreciate people asking, and people have lots of questions about our life, and I just appreciate it. I really do. So, high functioning, low functioning. Obviously, we don't really know. I guess doctors and therapists could guess, but nobody really knows. And honestly, if we were to have answers, it may not be the answers you want. So sometimes it's better not to know. But anyway, so Connor is in first grade. He does do inclusion some. He does go to the typical first grade class. But he's also in the CDC room for the most part of his day. And there's no shame in that. I know a lot of people have different opinions on that, so I'm going to give you my opinion on that. I think a lot of people think I'm pro CDC room because that's where I work. I worked in the CDC room in the high school, and I work in the preschool room now at the primary school. And obviously, of course, I'm not going to be against it because it's what I do, but it's more, I'm trying to think how to word it. Here he comes. It's more stems from me as a parent and the way I parent Connor. And so, Connor is very delayed. Obviously, if you know him, you know this. And I'm just speaking honestly here. You know I love him, and you know I think he's perfect. So please don't take this wrong or think I'm bashing him somehow or something like that. Just being honest. He is climbing on the back of the couch. It won't end well, y'all. It never ends well. Anyway. We recently changed his paperwork last year in his IEP from being developmentally delayed to having an intellectual disability. And the reason for that was when he came home, he was labeled developmentally delayed, and obviously, it needed changed. We knew it needed changed, but it is hard to change that. It is hard to see the words. There's something about seeing the words even when you know it's true. there's something about seeing the words. And if you have a child that has an IEP, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have cried at almost every IEP meeting we've ever had. I'm getting better. And I want to say this too. I've never had a bad IEP meeting. I've never felt ganged up on. I've never felt like they only talked about negatives. They always talk about positives with Connor. And my heart goes out to people who have had really bad experiences with IEP meetings. We have not. It's been amazing. But anyway, it's still hard. It's still difficult, and it's still emotional. So, he is so hyper. Why are you screaming? You can say hi. Say hi. And tell him I got on my Superman shirt today. Superman. I love you. Okay, so, anyway, we changed that, and when Connor was in preschool, he was in the special needs CDC preschool room, and we were good with that. We were fine with that. And then in kindergarten, when we had that IEP meeting, they brought up letting him go to the regular kindergarten class for special stuff, like music with them, or if they were having story time or something like that, just to kind of get him around with the typical children. And we were thrilled, and I was kind of shocked that they would bring it up, because the stereotype or whatever would be that the parents fight for it, and the school's finally like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? And that's not the case at all. They brought it up, the school, and it was a beautiful thing. It was an exciting thing. I was thrilled about it, but here's my take on it, kind of. With Connor being so far behind, and I'm just being honest here, there's no way he can do schoolwork of a typical 6-year-old. It's just not. I mean, it's not gonna happen right now. I'm not saying ever, but he is learning his shapes and his colors, and we're trying to teach him his letters. And if you write his name, if you write a bunch of kids' names, we want him to be able to pick out his name, and he's working on writing his name and things like that. So typically, a first grader would already be able to do those things. And so we, here he comes. In order for him to learn those fundamental things, numbers, letters, colors, his classmates are already past that, if this makes sense. I hope this makes sense. Are you coming back? So, say hi. Don't push any buttons. Oh, me and you both got on blue. Blue. Okay. And so, I forgot where I was. Hashtag mom life. Anyway, so, I don't want him learning anything, or not even learning anything. Okay, I'm so sorry if this don't make any sense. I have these thoughts in my head, but I have such a hard time getting them out. Okay, so let's just say that we put him in, we fought for full inclusion, and we wanted him in a first grade class all the time. The things that they are teaching the first graders, he cannot do. I actually have a worksheet here. Oh, I might not have it anymore. I don't think I have it anymore. Okay. Yes, I do. Here's an example. This is some things that his first grade class is working on. And it's awesome. It's so cool. But he can't do it, And I don't want him fully included And, you know, he's just sitting there lost. I never want him to feel confused or out of place. And he would feel out of place if he was, you know, there all the time and couldn't do the work. The work is just over his head. And that's why I think it's important that he does a lot of his learning and academic work in the CDC room, because it's not over his head. It's his level. It's meeting him where he's at. It's for him, uniquely for him, what he can do, where he's at, what he's ready to learn. And that's why I am kind of pro CDC room, I guess you would say. And I am not saying fully, I'm not saying full inclusion cannot be beautiful, but for my child, it's not time for that. And I'm not saying that there will never be a time for that, but I have enough understanding to know that it is not time for that. And in my mind, what could happen if he's looking at this all day and he's lost because he can't do it right, because he's just learning to count on his fingers to 5. Okay, so if he's just learning to count on his fingers to 5, and he's sitting in a class with, you know, let's just say 15 other kids, and they're working on this, what's he going to be doing? Just hanging out. I mean, I'm just being honest. And so I would rather him be in a CDC room learning to count those fingers and learning to count to 5. And that's just an example. But I hope that helped it make sense, like why I would want that and why I'm for that and why I think that it's not his time to be fully included. Although I love that he's going to 1st grade. I love that she sends me these things, and any project they've done that's like arts and crafty, and like the About Me poster. If you follow me on social media, I've shared all that stuff. We're doing that this year, and it just feels a little more included, and obviously I'm helping almost 100% with those things, but still, those are things that make me feel like, wow, I have a 1st grader, you know, and I'm just thankful this year for inclusion and so many things that go along with it. And Connor is extremely smart. Please don't get me wrong. He's extremely smart, but he just needs to be where he fits. And I don't ever want him to possibly grow further behind, because I fought to put him in the typical classroom where they're doing math like this, and he's lost. And so I hope that helps shed light a little on my perspective. And again, I'm not against inclusion. I'm not against fighting to have your kid fully included. Please don't take me wrong. I'm talking about my child specifically. And I know that I'm not in the norm at all with my way of thinking on that. But I know that I have his best interests at heart. And do I do everything right? No. We're human beings. We mess up. And that's so hard. What's so hard about parenting? Because you know you're going to mess up. And you know you are messing up sometimes. But you do your best. And I certainly do everything with his best interest at heart. Am I always doing it right or doing his best interest? No, because I'm human. But it's always my intent. And so I just wanted to get on here and talk about that a little bit. And the high functioning and low functioning question kind of went along with that, is why I jumped on a rabbit hole there. But we don't know who he's going to be. We don't know. We can speculate, we can guess, but like I said earlier, sometimes it will just stress you out further. You know, if you I'm trying to think the way to word it to not sound mean or like I don't know. But anyway, I never want to put too high of expectations on him. I never want to push him beyond what he's capable of. But yet, I want to push him just enough to, keep him going. I don't want him to not reach his full potential because we kind of babied him and kind of gave him a pass. And you'll see that with the way I parent him. I am tough. I am extremely tough on him. I know that I am. And yet I do baby him in ways I shouldn't. And so I like to think I'm a mixture of both. But I am pretty tough. And the reason being is he's going to be a grown man. He's going to be bigger than me in no time. He's super tall. He's super smart. And he's going to reach that defiant stage. And I feel the need to be tough and strict now before it's too late. And I'm not saying that he would ever have any tendencies or behaviors to be unkind. I want to think that he's just going to be the sweetest, gentlest, kindest man ever. But I feel like you are taught the fundamentals of that when you're young. And so I am working on it, and I'm trying really hard to remind him to be easy and to remind him to be gentle. And that's one thing, about Connor is he's got to where lately he gets when he gets really excited, he'll run up and like bump into you, kind of push you, I guess, a little. And it's not being aggressive. He doesn't do it in a mean way. And y'all know I would be honest and tell you if he was. But if he comes up behind me and does it, it has like shoved me before. Like it'll jolt you. And he doesn't know his own strength. Like I don't think he would ever intentionally like push me down. But like that could happen someday if I don't teach him now that, oh, you can't do that. I know you're really excited, but and that's just another example of kind of what I'm talking about, and I hope I'm making sense. So anyway, no one can tell you. Doctors can speculate. Therapists can speculate. No one can tell you. And in my opinion, I would rather not know, because if I were told that he's going to be really low functioning, I feel like I would just stress myself out so bad right now trying to be stricter and be harder and be just trying to push him to learn all these things really fast, because I'm afraid he's going to be bigger than me soon, and he's going to be low functioning, and you know what I mean? And I feel like I am the world's worst about stressing out. I worry, I stress, I get depressed, I have anxiety, and I'm just really trying lately to relax and enjoy life. And part of that is not worrying about the future. And it's easier said than done, of course, but I'm really trying to just enjoy the here and now and not think about it that much, to be honest. And I know that sounds crazy, and you can't not think about the future. We all do, but I'm just trying really hard to be more mellow, be more laid back, be less angry, and it's really helping with my anxiety and stuff. And so I am choosing to just be excited about the future and have no fear. And I know a lot of people are asking about high functioning, low functioning, because they are wondering questions like, is he going to have a baby mentality forever? Is he going to live with you forever? Are you going to always have to do things for him? Will he know to put on a coat in the winter? Are you going to have to tell him to put a coat on in the winter? Would he wear flip-flops in the snow? Would he, you know what I mean? Things like that is really what people want to know, honestly. And I know that. And I know what they're asking when they're asking high functioning, low functioning. They're asking, are you going to have a child forever? I mean, that inevitably, I can't say it, you know what I mean. I think that's what they mean. And it's okay to be curious, and it's okay to ask. I don't mind. But watch who you ask, because some people will get really mad, but I won't. But there's no way to answer that. There's no way to know. There are people with Down syndrome who have jobs, who I know a few who live outside the home, very independent people. Do I think that will be Connor? Well, I have no way to know. I think that it's just one of those tough questions. People want to know so bad, and I don't have any way to tell you. I could tell you what I think, but that's just my opinion, you know. I don't know. I will say that I am one of these people who is very realistic. I am one of these people who doesn't sugarcoat things. I'm one of these people who doesn't try to kid myself, I guess you'd say. I'm not in denial. I'm not, and I think a lot of that has that to do because I work in this field. I think that he'll always be my son, and he'll always need his mama. That's what I think, and I'm going to leave it at that. And we just love him to death. We think he's absolutely perfect, and he has brought us so much joy. And I know a lot of times when people ask about low functioning, they're kind of thinking about the future, and they're kind of thinking, man, she's going to have to take care of him forever, and what's going to happen to her when she's old, and where will he live when something happens to her and Jeremy, and all those things. And obviously when I'm gone, I have no idea. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Who knows? And that's one of them things that you can stress yourself out about the future. But I can tell you this. As long as I'm able, I will be the one taking care of him. And when something happens to me, I have no doubt that he'll be taken care of. So, do I know what exactly the future looks like? No. Could I guess? Yes. But guessing is just an opinion, and we don't know. And the thing is, if I have to, if he lives with us forever, if he's like a little boy forever, I would love it. Because I love him. It's not going to matter. And a lot of people feel for us, and that's why they're asking, you know. And you don't have to feel sorry for us. It is our joy to take care of him. And if we're still taking care of him when he's a grown man, it will still be our joy. And it will be our life. And we won't want it any different or think of it any different. And I think that's the problem a lot of times is people want to change people. People want to mold them and make them into what they want and what they think is right or is the best or would be the best outcome. And we're not trying to do that. I want Connor to be who God wants him to be. And I have no doubt God's going to use him for great things. I have no doubt that he's already changed many hearts and lives. And God can use him no matter what. And I'm just thankful that I don't have to worry. That I know that God's going to take care of him because God brought him from his birth mother's arms to a wonderful foster mother to an amazing orphanage full of wonderful workers. And then he brought him to mine and Jeremy's arms. And so God has took care of him his entire life. How could God leave him now? He wouldn't. And so I don't have to worry. And the way I feel about that, the same goes for me. God has took care of me all my life. He has gave me abundantly more than I deserve. And why would he stop blessing me and taking care of me now? And he wouldn't. And so we don't have to worry about the future. We don't have to fear. everything's going to work out perfect. And we love our life. We love our family. And we are just excited about the future. And we cannot wait to see who Connor becomes. We cannot wait to see the great things he's going to do, high functioning or low functioning. It's not going to matter. He's going to do some great things. I have no doubts. Obviously, there'll be different things depending, but it's going to be amazing to watch him grow up, watch him change, and watch him become the man he's going to become. And there's no fear in that. There's nothing but joy in that. And anyway, I just wanted to get on here and tell y'all that. And I thank y'all for being interested and listening to my perspective. And I want to say again that it's just my perspective. It's me talking about my child, and everything I said about inclusion in the CDC room and the classrooms is specific to my child. I'm not saying anything about anybody who has a different opinion, because God made us all different. We're all unique. We all have different opinions, and just because it's my opinion don't mean it's the right one. It's just mine. And so I wanted to clarify that, because I feel like so often we fight and we bicker and we get mad because we think our opinion is the right opinion. And if you don't think the way we think, you're wrong. And that's wrong, because God gave us all different perspectives, and He makes us all unique. And that's the beautiful thing about life. And so I hope I didn't offend anyone, but it's just my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right. Come here, you want to talk to him? Let me let you talk to Connor. Come here. Come on. All right. Say hey.
Hi.
Say, how you doing? Tell him you're a big first grader now. Are you a big first grader? You love school? Tell him bye. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.